In Errand of Mercy, we met the Organians who forced the Federation and the Klingon Empire to cease hostilities. They formed an uneasy peace, and in this next episode, it's been about 3 years since the treaty has been in force, and each side is still mistrustful of the other. Old hatreds die hard. It parallels the tension between the United States and the Soviet Union in the late 1960s. There were those in power who would have escalated the conflict in Southeast Asia, and there were others who would have ceased fighting altogether. The factions were known respectively as the Hawks and the Doves. This episode gives away its underlying sympathies with its title, The Day of the Dove.
Take off, sir! Let me go too. I've got a personal score to settle with the Klingons.
Character never became a full person.
Don't try to stop me, Captain. I saw what they left of Piotr. I swore on his grave I would avenge his murder.
So you really hit a sore spot. That's the problem. The character never became became a more dimensional person.
His brother? He never had a brother. He's an only child.
And that is the science fiction irony of my life, because as we moved on into the future, you know, we went in. Not only did we do 2 years on the series, we did 7 movies, and you know, technology changed, and all of that was addressed in the stories that we did as the years went by. The characters themselves, Chekhov, Sulu, Scotty, Uhura, they remained in the past. They never developed.
It's to kill the pain.
And that, as I say, is the bitter irony of my experience on Star Trek. I'm not bitter. I was disappointed. I do have I am totally bonded to Star Trek, and I will take that with me to my grave, and my relationships with all the people. And I am enormously grateful for the opportunity it gave me, and for the fact that I was able to, earn a living and to support my family for those 30 years. Star Trek, because it had integrity. At its best, it had integrity. It was a show that I could feel proud about. I could feel that we're doing something that's important. Sure, we're telling fanciful stories, but we're also creating we're giving good entertainment, and we're creating a universe that people can rejoice in. I think, and we were doing it with literacy. We were doing it with intelligence, and we were doing it with great love. So all those things made Star Trek important to me, and have continued to this day.
Mirchu Klingon Pu Lam Mur Bak Mul Edge Moch Je Fakba me jar kibid with char
Edge country with top bet Machos loud trichos push Cheshevta Majachet Bobotlir Shorob kan kulau Chuchmer Bible Villa Konak Luchev Bed Jachot with Pu
Devil Jach Jai
Devil we Rajbek Kerk Ach devil ratir the edge. Tjat der Brooklyn on Robo Klingon Jich Jichner.
Pit Rajbe Yirka
Tjov be. Not what viler is not bor ved Dutch rich viler ka evetool.
Kashtach Vish Watram Loshar Khur Shijlach Ketborg Lord Enterprise Wipacha Bedge Vek Dude Rurak Tachborg to Homerach Vet Krop Et Lushov bid Jorgan Pu Vaj Klingon Ho Luroj Choch Toch la Rin Lao Nochvam Mashur et Luchau Beba Orang pu.
Doch hod. Kash put churvesh dun kupbej.
Michael Ansara, who stars as the Klingon Captain Kang, was a well-known face to television viewers in the 60s. He specialized in playing exotic heroes and villains in The Outer Limits, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Time Tunnel, and Land of the Giants, among others. And speaking of Klingons, The Day of the Dove is the only episode of the original series to feature a female Klingon. Wardrobe designer Bill Tice did a wonderful job of feminizing the typical Klingon uniform, and the makeup job for actress Susan Howard gave her character Mara an element of realism.
I mean, that was the great thing that, I don't know what Roddenberry was able to do, but he found things that, in all of them, I think that most of us had never really run into. They weren't trite. I mean, that's why it was fun to try to get on the show. The stories were always going to be something that you had not done before, and it wasn't just going to be another retelling the way we used to. You'd do a Western and then do a cop show, and the cop show was a shirt and tie copy of the Western. That wasn't true, certainly not on this. I don't remember thinking, oh, that's familiar, or tying in with anything else.
It took risks. Gene Roddenberry's ideas were before their time. He actually, I understand, that originally wanted to use Major as the captain, and that was really. And then the network thought it wouldn't go to have a woman, and that it was that kind of thing about that show.
Well, you know, there was something about the show. It seemed to me that there was something very life-affirming and very positive about Star Trek. I think it touched a lot of people because. It wasn't just the fact that people were, that Bill and Leonard and Scotty and so on and so forth were overcoming adversity, but they were dealing with rather esoteric problems that people could sort of, strange things that people could sort of hang their hats on, and they could sort of empathize with what the characters were doing. I mean, if you look at some of the stories, they weren't the common kind of story. They were very special.
And so another creature that feeds on negativity gets its just rewards. Remember Red Jack in Wolf in the Fold? That murderous entity fed on fear. In The Day of the Dove, it was hatred that both defined and nourished the creature. It's interesting to note the creature's innate ability to create false memory. Only in recent court cases have psychiatric experts validated such a concept. Like the theory of parallel universes, this was yet another instance where our fiction became an odd reflection of some small part of the real world.